Welcome folks, this is my YouTube channel. Today is an introduction of sorts. I'll be lecturing more conventionally tonight, this evening. But again, hopefully we're back in our natural classroom habitat sometime soon. But in the meantime, I'll be here in my home as we're sequestered. I wanted to get back into World War I here in a little bit. I want to start today with the new channel by reading just briefly from this diary that I came across. My grandfather's. So this is authentic piece of history, August 1st, 1918. This would be 8 days before his birthday. His name was Thomas Daniel McCormick. So this is August 1st, 1919. And he says here, again, he's 17 years old, and he says, real shell fire, first shell fire. 5 days later, this is old handwriting, heavy artillery. So I always think about, in the context of World War I, the fact that, hey, this war was a vortex and it brought in people of all ages, all ethnicities, all religions around the world. Some folks were free, some folks were colonists. It's the first total war, it's the first technological war, and it's truly a vortex. So again, welcome back to my page. I wanted to just recap for a little bit to get back into thinking a little bit about where we were last time we spoke. I might be a little bit behind here for the morning classes, but it'll clarify things a little bit for the afternoon classes. Last time we spoke, we talked about the Battle of the Marne, late summer, early fall, 1914. We got to the end of the Battle of the Marne, known as the Miracle of the Marne, and we discussed all the reasons why the English and the French scored a huge victory over the Germans at the Marne. Again, the Miracle of the Marne, hugely consequential, hugely important. It leads to three chief things to note. Number one, we're looking at the firing of von Moltke. He had the audacity to turn his back on the Schlieffen Plan, and he is fired for those two deviations. So one was the firing of von Moltke. Secondly, we do see, sadly, the Schlieffen Plan in ashes. Okay, two-front war is now a reality. The attack on France did not work, and the war will go on for 3 years into a stalemate. Thirdly, and again, the morning classes did have this content. Thirdly, we see the formation of the Western Front. And as I mentioned earlier, this means 3.5 years of stalemate. A couple miles every few weeks are taken back and forth. It's a pure stalemate. There's no mobility. If you're lucky, maybe you got a mile in this battle or a mile in the next battle, but it's a 3.5 year stalemate along the Western Front. And again, that means trench warfare. I just wanted to, for the afternoon, talk a little bit about, and not too much in detail. Again, without the visuals, it could be a little bit dry, but I want to go back into discussing one more item as to how it led to how we arrived at the Western Front. And again, following the Battle of the Marne, the Germans are going to be pushed back by the Entente, the French and the English, about 30 miles. So 30 miles back to the Ain River. And again, we have this event known as the Race to the Sea. And it simply means that, again, both armies really caught in this intellectual trench, that was a pun, intellectual trench of old-time Victorian warfare. They're both still thinking about outflanking the other side. So the Race to the Sea, the English and the French try to outflank the Germans attempt to outflank the French, and they both keep outflanking about 100 miles until they reach the North Sea, and they can't outflank any longer. Shortly after, we're going to see the development of trench warfare, the Western Front, 400 miles of continuous trenches all the way from the North Sea, through Belgium, through all of eastern France to the Swiss frontier. And as I mentioned in the morning, there's no definitive day where the words were uttered, there was no definitive general, but somebody at some point said, hey boys, they have the same technology as you. It's time to find a shovel, time to find a spade, and dig a hole. Save yourself, grab a hold of Mother Earth, and dig yourself a trench. And there we have the formation of the Western Front. And again, the Western Front, 3.5 years, as I said, of stalemate. And really, guys, one final statement before I go into tonight's content, which would be more specific. One last comment, just that, that this war is a little bit of futility. It's a little bit of idiocy. It's a little bit of futility. We've got generals, maybe good men, but good generals who were older. They were locked into an old Victorian style of warfare, and the idea that, hey, we're going to outflank you, we're going to overpower you, we're going to use elan vital and, being English and Anglified. We're going to use old-fashioned Victorian tactics to outman you. But again, this is now a technological war, it's a defensive war, and being French or being English or having plenty of vigor is not going to win. So we've got old-fashioned generals fighting in an archaic style, and it's going to lead to mounting casualties, a feeling of futility and hopelessness in a long, long war. So let's lock it in for that long war. Tonight I begin real content with the Battle of Verdun, and we'll see you tonight. Looking forward to it.